drink. That's all he wants, a bag of dope and some fucking soda. And he's straight. He don't care about the staph infection. Hell, he probably came to you because his ear was hurting. Like, hey, you gonna take me to go fix this real quick because this shit bothering the shit out of me. It sucks, man.
Every time
Because you a good-ass person.
every time I make an appointment for him, he runs.
You a good-ass person. I can say that. You a good person because you really do be trying to help people. A lot of your shit be getting demonetized. I gotta give you your respect and your credit, bro, where it's due. You know what I'm saying? Whether in the very beginning I felt like I don't know where the fuck you was kind of coming from with all this shit. I really didn't, but as the years went on, I kind of seen the vision, the picture. You're good to people, man. But you, like, and I know it's hard to pick and choose who you should help, but don't be the enabler. Don't be the person that keeps them blossoming in that direction. Because, see, they'll get on this channel, get a bunch of millions of views, right? And people feeling bad for them, but they mind, they feel like, oh, people feel like what I'm doing is right. So they go do more of it. It don't help. It doesn't, man. It doesn't. It's sad, but it's true. And I know what the fuck do I do, you know? It's a nigga that had a couple bitches around me, right, well, it just seems like we lacking a lot. We lacking a lot of departments. We're missing something.
What are we missing most?
Are those Dunking football meal deals? You in the band?
Why are you making it a weird deal?
That's good. You guys will be flocking at these things.
True love.
By that.
True fucking love. And loyalty. Hell, there's no honor amongst thieves anymore, let alone family members. There's no loyalty and love. A lot of people can't accept hurt. Mark. You and I both know that. That's not for everybody. Not everybody's being is wired to be able to accept hurt. Hurt, things that hurt on the inside, things you can't take a Tylenol for or a pill or, you know what I'm saying, something like that to like just fix because you're supposed to. No, it's something that hurts on the inside, so people take more of it all. They're chasing something, man. I was at the store earlier. I was running in to grab some cigarettes, and this man was holding up the line. And he's up here like, I had to go. I'm like, I gotta make a move. So I see him up there at the front. He's buying a ticket, like one of them scratchers. And the dude's in front of me. I'm like, man, come on, man. I was like, I know the dude that's working here. He's like, you want to just get your stuff? I'm like, yeah, let me just get my stuff, because he's going to be standing here for a second. They go in there, and he's a homeless man. He up here. What pissed me off was that you ain't even supposed to be buying this shit. And I said that shit out loud. I said to and the two dudes was like, you just want to go ahead of us? I said, no, I'm cool with y'all buying y'all shit. I'm not going to sit here and wait for him to fuck his life up more than what he done already did by sitting over here and picking some scratchers. His whole life is outside on a cart parked right now in a fucking drive, in a parking spot for no reason. His whole life. He's holding us up. He's like, oh, my bad. Like, he already knows. I was like, bro, you ain't even supposed to be buying this shit. This on my kids, man, on my pimpin', on everything I stand for. This happened tonight. So when I walk out the store or whatever, I see him standing there with his card his entire life. And I told him, I was like, man, like, come on, man, you holding up the line on people shit. I was like, I ain't trying to be rude to you. I said, I just had somewhere to be. You know, I didn't want to feel like I disrespect him too much, because I know people be having a hard time, but damn it, I be having a hard one too. He ain't the only one, so sometimes motherfuckers need to get moving. Especially a grown-ass man. Get your ass moving. You up here buying scratchers. Your whole life outside on the cart. I go outside, I tell him like this, look, man, here go $4. So, man, take care of yourself. He said, hey, man, I was just trying to get the right scratcher, you know, so I can, you know, I'm trying to win something. Well, you know what I did? I reached in my pocket, gave him another 20. I said, and if your ass win, I said, hey, I said, you better find me. Straight up, I ain't even gonna lie. Shit, at least, hey, man, I'm trying to be on the winning team. Don't want to be the one walking by that turned him down. I see his ass on TV talking about he'd have hit for some millions, some homeless man, and change his life around. Yeah, you better remember me, bud. Better remember me.
He'd still fuck it up after winning.
I mean, don't give me part of it. I ain't gonna fuck up my part. Just show me some love. Show me some love. I ain't gonna fuck up my part. But you're right, though. He's gonna fuck it up. It's not, we've said it, man. People aren't gonna change unless they truly, genuinely want to. We've watched people get hundreds of thousands of dollars into rehabilitation for people, like in their families. You know what I'm saying? People that actually got some money to throw at it. 9 times out of 10, the person doesn't come out the way you want them to. They come out, they might be cool for a week, relapse, or they just leave the program altogether.
Mm-hmm. Or even get straight for a year or two and then they relapse.
Yeah,
That happens too.
but I'll say this: I'll take a 2-year run for 200 better than just a motherfucker leaving the program in the very middle.
For sure.
And your bread's there. Like, at least we got a couple of years of a somewhat normal you, even though there's no such thing as normal. But we got something next to some type of realness for you.
But the people that I've seen that have actually gotten themselves better are not the ones who got a helping hand and got a bunch of support and help.
Because you know why?
They're the ones who just, let me finish.
Go ahead.
They're the ones who silently disappeared for 3 months.
Yeah.
Or 6 months or whatever. No one saw them. Nobody knew it. They thought you thought they died. They hold up, and they come out and they're clean.
They wanted to change.
They wanted to change.
That's all I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's a person that sounds like they want change.
They got tired of their own bullshit.
Yeah, their own shit. They figured out that they were in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
That's what we're all doing. We're all in our own way.
There it is. There's the truth. See, that's what's been bothering you. You've been in your way on something. You've been in your own way.
No, not my own way. I just see everyone else around me fucking up.
You see me fucking up? Do you feel like I fucked up? We ain't seen each other in a while, so I'm gonna ask you the questions of what you feel about me here, because
I think you made a mistake, maybe a strategic mistake in your career, but we all have done that. And things can be rectified easily.
Make 2025 the year resolutions become reality. Start your degree with WGU.
With the easy-to-wear Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor, tracking your glucose can be more affordable and personal. Now, more people pay $0 for the Freestyle Libre systems than other CGMs. This is progress. Try the #1 CGM in the U.S. for free today.
The talent you have,
can we call it a career, honestly?
the charm, the charisma,
What career is this, honestly? What career? What career is it, honestly? I sit here and I tell people stories about what it's like to be a pimp. Or the thought process of your everyday pimp. Oh, how do you take your kids to school? Do you walk them in with a limp? You know what I'm saying?
No,
like, it's,
don't under.
I'm just saying, like, what do we like? No, I'm saying for the ones that know, I respect it, you know. But for the ones that don't, I'm curious too.
But there are a lot of people who bristle at the idea that they're getting advice from a pimp. But for people that really see what's going on, they see that you are a man who's full of an interesting.
Of course I am.
You got great attitude. You got great charisma. You got a lot of great.
You're right.
Things going for you.
You're right.
You happen to come from the streets.
You're
but,
right.
But you
and
have
there's some people that'll see that.
You're very unique.
But you know why I don't run from the truth? Because there's always going to be those people that don't let you forget where you come from. So I'm the type of person that just embraces it already. Let me just embrace it, because I already know what half the motherfuckers are thinking, so we might as well just go ahead and embrace that already. Let's address the elephant in the room. That way there's no shame. There's no malice. You know, we can keep the malice out of the way. I'm already addressing it. I know you know. So let's get to the positive movement of it and see if we can get somewhere in the convo. You know, that's why I embrace it. That's why I say it. I get what you're saying, but that's why I do it. It's because I want people to know, hey, man, I've already embraced it. I understand. I guess the key question is, do you?
I think a lot of people can't get past the fact that you were a pimp, or you are a pimp.
Yeah, there's some that can't get past that.
They can't
never
get past
will.
it.
Nah.
Pimps are so hated.
You know, by more than who? More. It's hated by more, and it's crazy, right? Because it'd be hated by more people that come from the streets than it do squares.
It's hated by
They don't
everybody.
really, no, they do, but they don't understand it in something like that. People that kind of come from the streets, whether it's just other street, you know what I'm saying, gang members, just anybody,
Well,
drug addicts, like some people that don't even fuck with it at all. They don't respect it.
You're old enough to remember this. I come from Chicago, which is one of the biggest pimp cities in the country, in the world. And I remember as a kid going into, like on West Madison
I
Street.
lived in Chicago. I'm from West Madison Street.
West Madison,
Yeah.
where the bishop would hang out.
Yeah.
And seeing a pimp like the bishop or somebody else pull up in a custom Rolls Royce, Cadillac, Lincoln Continental, Bentley, whatever, customized, like fully customized. And the guy gets out wearing a fedora with a feather and a fur coat and custom boots, custom everything.
That was when shit was cheap.
And he comes out, he pulls up and everybody comes running, kids come running, men,
Oh,
women,
yeah.
everybody comes
Yeah.
running, old and young.
But that was, I ain't gonna lie, let me tell you something. That was when things didn't cost that much back then. And the game was still thriving. You have to understand that. The game was thriving. And back then, shit, a burger cost you 50 cents back in the 60s and 70s. You know what I'm saying? When a lot of these guys were coming up.
And the game was more lucrative.
And I love that era. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was more lucrative. It's crazy how,
But the pimps would be more generous. They would be helping out people.
I mean, I still give out. I still keep that tradition.
That's I think how the bishop and other people became reverends and they became religious leaders almost, because they were almost filling that role in their little society, in their culture.
Bishop was a pastor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, he did his thing, man. Like, I got
Yeah,
nothing
he had a
but-
church, right?
Had a church.
Yeah.
Nothing but love to the bishop and everything he ever set forth for the game. But even he knows, shit, the times done changed. Shit, I keep it traditional for sure, but we all know what it is, even him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, that's why I think it's a certain way of thinking anymore. It's not really what they would consider in, but then when you really look at it, the traditional way of things is the best way of things. And people still take a liking to that because there's so much bullshit out here, people don't even know what to believe. They don't even know what to believe. And any type of knowledge you may get, even somebody telling you to go put your fucking money into some stocks, they don't know what to believe. You know what I'm saying? But when you come to something that's as genuine as this, I'm not even asking these people for no money. Hell, I don't ask you for that. You know what I'm saying? Just to come and be genuine with you, you're gonna take that shit to heed. And don't ever let it, any kind of game or something I ever tell about my life, just sit in your closet and collect dust. Use it. It all can work for your everyday life.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
Trust and believe.
IT is about time. Uptime, which is crucial for your business operations because outages can be extremely costly. And your time, so you can remotely monitor and troubleshoot performance as quickly and as easily as possible. Then swiftly get back to the other priority projects on your hot list. How to make it happen? Meet the DigiConnect IT.
I might have had to go through a fucked up way of seeing it, but I still wanted the same thing, and I figured it out. As a
There's
grown-ass
lessons that people can learn, even from somebody like you.
You damn right. Shit, if I can sit here and be open to learning something from you, right? You a man that's, no offense, don't seem like you, know what I'm saying? Even though you've known of us or known about us for a long time, you ain't never walked that way in your life. That ain't your way, that ain't how you live your life, and that's cool. That's cool, man. That's cool. You know, that's cool. But for people that do, I just don't like the, you know what I'm saying? This shit is changed. It's not the same.
A lot of bad actors in the game,
There is a lot.
and the laws got more extreme.
So you can't be even moving like that, man. Honestly. Anybody that's even, like, especially for the dudes, because I be seeing people online and shit like that posting, you know, money and on the blade, like, hey, homie, listen, I can't tell people what to do, but I'm a real one, and I'm supposed to give game where it's supposed to be given at, and a lot of niggas should already know, man, stop doing that shit, church. That ain't the way. You setting yourself up for failure. You either setting yourself up for robbery or them police to come. Stop doing that. You're giving it to the police on a platinum platter, man. They giving niggas astronomical numbers.
Yeah, you gotta be discreet now.
You better stay under the radar and stay doing what you're doing. If you're getting them blessings, take those blessings into consideration. Keep it moving. You ain't got nothing to prove. There's no, like I said before, homie, there ain't no groups. There ain't no cliques of it. There ain't none of that shit. It's you and that bitch. It's you and that bitch, man. And when you can figure that part of it out, then you pimp it. Straight up. When you figure that part of it out, then you can say, yeah, I'm out here pimping. Pimping ain't what you can tell the next nigga. It's what you doing with that bitch. And for the women, I love them all. Just a certain way when this shit goes, it's in my heart and it burns strong.
Should we close it out there? That was a good one.
Yeah, you think so? It's you and that bitch, man. And when you can figure that part of it out, then you pimping. Straight up. When you figure that part of it out, then you can say, yeah, man, I'm out here pimping. Pimping ain't what you can tell the next nigga. Pimping's what you're doing with that bitch. And for the women, I love them all, but just a certain way, man, this shit go. It's in my heart and it burns strong.
Should we close it out there? That was a good one.
Yeah, you think so?
We'll have to do more of these.
You want to do more?
I do.
Yeah, I think we should.
We're good together.
I think we should. Takes us a second to get it jump-started like a car, but once we got that motherfucker going, it's soaring up the street at 90, ain't it?
We got a slow start, but we got
No,
rolling.
for sure. For sure.
I'm glad you're back.
I'm glad to be back. It feels good to be back, man. It's an honor, you know? I said the other day, I said, you know, in the end, it's always good and great and the best to go back to the beginning. Straight up. You'll find all your answers there.
You're as good as ever.
Greater than ever, baby.
Yeah.
Heart kicking fully. I missed you and I missed them all the real ones.
Yeah.
And all the non-achievers and unbelievers, they know what the fuck they can do. We leave it just as that.
Great to see you.
It's great to see you.
All right, man.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Church. Let me ask you a question,
Sure.
because I feel like you're hella honest. You throw no hate in it. That's why I like asking you like real genuine questions.
I'll tell you
Like,
the truth.
Yeah, like this ain't no pod, no nothing. Like this is a real fucking question. If you could have been a guy, hell, maybe you've been that guy
I
in your
am a
own
guy.
world.
What do
No,
you-
I'm saying in your own world. I'm saying like they could have had women give you everything in your life.
Okay.
Been this stud, having she just wants to see you with it, see you winning. And they might have been prostitutes. Would you have done it?
I like a female who appreciates me.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
No, yeah. But what if you had many of them that appreciate it?
No, I'm a one-woman man.
Yeah.
I don't like a lot of them.
Yeah.
I like my work too much, and having 6 women would just complicate my life.
Well, there's some that like it, baby.
Yeah, no, you're
There's
probably
some that like it,
you're
baby.
probably built for it.
Come on, there's some that like it. You can't knock that.
No, I tend to go for quality over quantity.
There's some that like it, baby.
I get it. I've seen lots of guys that like.
What I tell you earlier, I said, hey, let me tell you something. Don't no woman want no man that no next woman want. Or even has them intertangles. That's how I mean, or like just them intertwining fucking ways.
Some guys just have women that crawl. They can't get rid of them because there's one after another, after another, after another.
Once that bitch gets that man all to herself, she notices she don't even like him like that.
That's right.
She liked him more when all the women liked him.
That's exactly right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but I'm not a ladies' man.
Well, I am.
I know that.
I am. I'm just not trying to make it all about me, but
Yeah.
I can.
No, I recognize that.
I am one. I love the ladies.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ladies love you.
they fucking go crazy.
Introducing the GMC Canyon AT4X.
Get 1.9% APR on 2024 GMC Canyon models. For an attractive offer, visit these GMC dealers today.
Until this week, my dad did not know where he was from. It means the world to share ancestry with my dad. So in Nigeria, that's where it all started. So they've broken it down by regions, by journeys, and by parent. Man, this is deep. This is my way of saying thank you to him.
Yeah, a lot of skaters come to the restaurant. It's called Burger She Wrote. We're trying to expand right now. We have 2 now in LA, and we're trying to do Miami and New York. This is like a Oklahoma burger from the Great Depression. This is like the very first actual smash burger. They would use onions to like stretch the meat to get more bang for your buck, you know?
He loves cooking. Everyone knows he's the master cook, but he's also like one of the most stylish skaters. He is so smooth. He has such good pop.
Nuge is like a really psycho skater, first of all, and was a leader to like a whole group of skaters that we really liked.
The thing about Nuge, he really is somewhat of a hero. He's the type of guy that, you know, if you have a problem or like a flat tire or something, like he's that guy.
Yeah, well, I watched their news conference, and I thought it was a very good news conference. I think they've come a long way. Meta, Facebook. I think they've come a long way. I watched it. The man was very impressive. I watched it. Actually, I watched it on Fox. I'm not allowed to say that. Say it?
Do you think he's directly responding to the threats that you have made to him in the past? With
Probably. Yeah, probably.
The last time you were here, you were asked a question about the U.S. possibly launching a preemptive strike on Iran. You said you wouldn't answer that question.
On who?
Obviously, on Iran. The U.S. launching a preemptive strike on Iran's nuclear facilities.
And I said I don't talk about it. It's a military strategy.
But it is a legitimate question. It's something that
well, it's not really, because only a stupid person would answer it. Look, it's a military strategy, and I'm not answering your questions on military strategy. All right, one more. Brian, go ahead. Brian.
Could you give us a preview of what you might be talking to leaders of Congress who are expected to come here in the next couple of days? And you've got a very supportive Congress behind you.
They're great. So we have a wonderful Republican Congress. We have a leader that I have a lot of confidence in. I think he's going to be, hopefully, a great leader, a great speaker. And we have a leader, by the way, in the Senate I think has been great. John Thune has been doing a fantastic job. But it goes through the House first. And the question is whether or not we do the 2 bills or 1 bill. And, you know, look, I can live either way. I like the idea of the 1 big bill, but I can live either way. But they'll be coming down. The senators also will be coming down. And then ultimately we'll be meeting in the White House in a few weeks. But right now this is the winter season. You know, they sort of call this the winter White House. It was built, I don't know if you know this, Marjorie Meriwether Post and E.F. Hutton built this. It was the greatest of all the estates in our country. And I saved it, and I got a lot of credit for saving it. Most of these big, great houses have been knocked down in Palm Beach. Just about all of them, actually. And they, you know, you'd built 10 mansions on one site, but we saved it. But this was built as the Southern White House, and she gave it to the government. And by the way, Jimmy Carter gave it back. He said it's too expensive for the United States. So I didn't realize that. I was just told. Actually, Jimmy Carter, Nixon was through Watergate. He came down. Nixon came here once, and he thought it was incredible, but he had a thing called Watergate, if anybody remembers that, and his mind, to put it mildly. And Jimmy Carter felt that it was too extravagant for the country, so fortunately for me, he gave it back to the foundation, and I bought it from the foundation.
On reconciliation, some Republicans saying in trade for a massive bill that you and they share the interest in, they want to see big spending cuts. Do you agree with that? And what
Well, I'm okay with spending cuts. I like spending cuts. Just, I'm on the record for spending cuts. And the debt ceiling was given to us. It shouldn't have been, but it was put in our lap. And what I want in terms of debt ceiling isn't the ceiling. I just don't want to see a default. That's all I want. I never talked about spending more money necessarily than all I want to see is no default. Because nobody knows what would happen if there was a default. It could be 1929 and it could be nothing. But that was put into our lap. And it shouldn't have been, but it was. And so we'll handle it. But debt ceiling is not about raising a lot of money. It's really just about extending it. I just want to see an extension.
On immigration, how much can you do by executive order? Are you planning to do on executive order when it comes to immigration? And how much do you want Congress to tackle this issue? And also on day one,
Well, I had the safest border in the history of our country by far. You remember the famous chart that I brought down. I love that chart very much for a lot of reasons. But I have the safest border by far in the history of our country. And when I took it over, it was a mess. Nothing like it is now. This is 10 times worse. I got elected because of the border the first time, and I think I got elected largely because of the border the third time. And the second time I did equally well. Well, not as well as the last time, but I did very well. And I will say, this was too big to rig. You know the expression? Too big to rig. They couldn't do it. They tried, but they couldn't do it. I didn't get very much from Congress at all. I just said that we're being invaded, and I took the money out of the military. Much of the wall, I built over 500 miles of wall. Much of that wall was built through money that I put into the military. We took it out because we couldn't get things from Congress in those days, and we took it out. And that wall was built largely with money coming from the military. So, very simple. I went to the military, I said, our country is being invaded by very similar, nothing like what's invading our country now. They weren't releasing prisons into our country, and they weren't releasing mental institutions in, but some bad dudes were coming in, right? And I said, our country is being invaded. And I took that money largely from the military. I was sued 9 times by the Democrats in Congress, and I won all those suits. And we ended up building 571 miles of wall. Once that wall was built, they started going around it. So we're going to add another 200. That would have been up in 3 weeks. And then we had a very unfortunate election result. And they said, we don't want to put it up. We'll sell it. And they started selling it for 5 cents on the dollar. What is that? So we'll do this again. I just want to thank everybody very much. I'm just telling you, this will be the golden age of America. It's the golden age of America. We're going to have a great country again. We're a country right now under siege. We have so many different problems, and nobody respects us overseas, but now they do. The Italian prime minister, as you know, came here the other night, just flew in or flew out. She wanted to see me. And great respect is being shown when I went to the cathedral in France. Great respect was shown by the prime minister, the president, by everybody. France was, and by the way, I have to say they did a great job in the cathedral. But great respect is being shown to our country again. And we have a great country, but we have to run it properly. It's going to be run properly. We want to get back those hostages for Israel and for us. You know, we do have people that are hostages being held. And I'll just say it again. If this deal's not done with the people representing our nation, by the time I get to office, all hell is going to be with you. Many things are happening that are exciting. Very exciting for our country, and we're on to become one of the most respected business leaders.
I love podcasts now. I just watched one of the most emotional and most important episodes of a podcast I've ever seen. And we've got to go over this together. I hope you're ready to get in touch with your emotions, because this one, you're going to need a box of tissues nearby for.
What's one thing that you love as a man in the bedroom that you think is kind of falling off today, that you think more men should be into, more guys should be doing?
Oral sex. Eating pussy.
Amen. Our champion has arrived. Shout it louder for those in the back row.
But not just the act of it.
Yeah.
The entire performance. You should literally treat eating fucking labia, pons, clitoris, every piece, even inner thigh, as this like orchestral event.
I agree, man. I don't.
Yes, just like the great artists that came before us, you must treat eating pussy like Mozart treated his symphonies. You're the conductor, and that flesh in front of you is your instrument. So slam her thighs together like they're cymbals and fucking tongue punch that pussy like it's the percussion. An orchestral performance is amazing. So I watched this whole episode, and this guy tries his best to be some kind of emotionally deep and profound intellectual throughout it. So as he's talking about eating pussy, it almost sounds like an ASPCA commercial where he's making it like so heart-wrenching, like it's weighing on him heavily, like taxing his psyche, thinking about all the pussy gone uneaten. So he's like, I half expected him to be pitching a tent there with the way he was getting into it. Like I felt like he was starting to get hard.
Girls tell me that they'll say, yeah, my ex would go down on me, but it'd be no more than 15 seconds until he would just come up and then start inserting into me. It's like, okay, well, you're not going to get anything done in 15 seconds, I'm sorry. I don't care how good you are. You're not.
Yeah.
Things take time, especially when you're working with such a beautifully intricately designed, like, I love it.
Oh yeah, you can see the butterflies getting his tummy as he gets the joy of talking so passionately about something he clearly loves so much. You know, he's getting like chills going over it. It feels like he's just pretending. It's so over the top, it just feels forced and fake. It honestly just seems like he's making an audition tape to find a girlfriend in the comment section on TikTok. It reminds me of like when people around you are talking about something that you don't really know about, but you don't want to feel excluded and be looked at like a weirdo, so you just kind of pretend like, oh yeah, Severance, of course I've seen it. I love it. I can't get enough of it. Stop me if I'm just, blabbering on. I could go on and on for hours about the show. Like the writing is watertight, and the cinematography is some of the best I've ever seen. Like that episode you're talking about, I was stunned. I was actually stunned. Meanwhile, I haven't started Severance yet.
Before the podcast started, I was ready with that question because Garrett was looking in the mirror over there and he was going, you know what I miss? I miss eating pussy. And I was like, save it for the podcast.
I do. I could feel my eyes dilate saying that too, because...
Slow down, Robert Frost. What do you mean you can feel your eyes dilate? He's trying to be poetic and shit, but it just comes across so silly. Brother, you have a problem. Before going on a podcast, he just stops and looks in the mirror to cry about how much he misses eating pussy. I think of all my maidens out there, the ladies that aren't having their box eaten by me, and I can't.
Let's do this one first and then we'll go to Russia. So with this one I go to Triana.
Why is everyone spiraling over YouTube banning ad blockers? Like, chill guys, just use Pi. It's a free Chrome extension and it
The Satanic Ritual Site and Creepy Doll.
I've found vehicles that were used in crimes dumped out there. I've found dogs from dog fights that were dumped out there. I've found animals that have just been dumped. I've found very intricate and mind-blowing satanic rituals and sacrifices out there.
What?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I was, which I found different stuff before. You know, I'll find maybe where someone was doing some voodoo, some Santeria, sacrificed a chicken, whatever. All that's like kind of normal out there. That's not that crazy. But what I found this night was very crazy. Yeah, the police came and investigated it. It made the news. And that's the facility I was hunting. It's actually an abandoned space rocket facility from the Cold War, where they were developing and testing space rockets. I was out there, you know, hunting these snakes, and this facility is you need special access. I was given special access by the state of Florida to remove pythons from out there. And nobody can just go back out there, but people do go out there, as you can see from the graffiti and different stuff like that. Usually to do stuff that they're not supposed to do. There's a lot of crimes committed out there. There's been murders out there, gang initiations, all kind of stuff.
So they have a pentagram?
So, yeah, it's a whole thing. So we go out there. The first thing I came across was a big rock pile with a upside down wooden cross on top and a bunch of red spray painted upside down crosses all over. You could tell the cross, I think, was burnt a little bit. And it wasn't, you know, crazy, super crazy. It was like, oh, this is new. You know, this wasn't out here a few days ago. And then I found this little doll. And as I kind of investigated that doll more, a little red scarlet snake actually came up and wrapped around her neck. And I picked up there it is. I picked up the scarlet snake. And, which, you know, is kind of weird that there's a live snake, a red snake on this doll. And I've caught a lot of snakes in my life. And that is the only one that was bleeding out of its anus. There was blood coming out of its beehole. Which, you know, I don't know why, who knows what. It was a little weird to me. And then the night just kind of gets weirder from there. You see the red lettering. There was a big Latin saying, like 100-foot long pretty much, on the road. I drove over it. We later translated it to, turn around, run, hide, he is watching you. Go further into the complex and there's these big abandoned buildings. I go into the building, you know, still just python hunting. Like, you know, who knows what these kids are doing out here. I thought it was strange, the Latin. Your average kid just messing around don't know Latin sayings like that. And then I come to this big room where there's the big pentagram. In the middle of the pentagram, there is a three-legged plastic chair with a blood stain in the bottom of it where you could tell something was killed, sacrificed, whatever. On each wall, there's 3 walls. On each wall, there's upside-down crosses, Latin sayings, and all kinds of stuff. As I'm kind of walking into the room, which, you know, I don't want to sound like a psycho or anything, but that doll from earlier grabbed my leg. I don't know if I kicked it, I didn't see it, or what, but that doll from the rock pile somewhere else, I don't know if it was another doll or what, I never seen that other doll. I kick it, it seemed like it grabbed me, it's that same doll from earlier. Same thing with the cross on its forehead, the one eye cocked over, the other eye messed up. And so, you know, it's very, very weird to me, kind of like scared me.
So
right next...
It wasn't there and then it was there? So
I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it.
You didn't carry it over there?
No, I didn't touch it.
So did anybody else, was anybody else with you?
I had 2 guys with me that didn't even want to get out of the truck when they seen the first thing. They stayed in the truck.
So the same doll that you saw on the rock pile somehow made its way to where you were?
Yep. I don't know if it's a duplicate doll or what, but it's same.
Was there more than one of those dolls?
Only doll I seen. Only doll I seen. I'm not big on the whole supernatural thing, so I'm real doubtful of it in the first place. But to me, it was the same doll from earlier. I did not see it until it hit my foot. Right next to that doll, there is a saying on the ground that says, "The omen will follow," which to me was like the creepiest thing of the whole thing. Was like, you know, that if you interact with any of this, this spirit's gonna follow you. Very strange, right? Very strange. As we go through, there's all kind of different stuff. In one of the rooms, there's a sleeping bag with something inside of it. I don't think it was a body, anything like that. Police went out there, investigated it. I didn't investigate further past that. Something was inside the sleeping bag, and on the walls there was, looked like red spray paint, and it said she was only 9, he gave her to the devil, like basically talking about sacrificing a child. And then you have this little girl's gown that's nailed to the wall with like a dark red stain on it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And what was the investigation? Did you follow up and find out what they found out?
I never heard anything from it. I'm assuming they never found much from it because I never heard anything from it.
Did they know it was human blood that was in the chair?
I don't know.
Or on the...
I don't know. I would like to think it's red spray paint, but I don't know. Who knows what it was?
Yeah.
So, you know, we continue on with our hunt. We end up starting to get out of there. The guys are like, dude, we won't go. We don't like this shit. I'm like, all right, you know, let's pack it up, let's go. So we start making our way out, and I see flashlights. I mean, there's one road in, one road out. There's a gate at the end of it. You can't drive a vehicle in, and I mean, we're miles out here. You have to drive miles to then walk miles, right? So I see this flashlight bouncing on the side of the road as I'm driving out. I'm like, who the fuck is this? No, I've never seen anyone out here in my life, ever. Getting closer to him. I have my pistol in my truck. I put my pistol on my lap, you know, just in case. As I'm getting closer, about to kind of pass the guy's like, Mike. It's my name. And he's like, I love your Instagram. I was like,
Hitchhiking after midnight. The stranger who wanted more.
I never talked girls. I was the kid in the corner, and like girls would form groups and talk about which guy they want to fuck, and I wouldn't even be. They're like, Dave's sitting right there, and they're like, yeah, he's not even on the fucking roster. And like, so I go, wait, is this racist? Yeah, but what has it? How can I turn this around? What it did for me. The Asian superpower is, if you're not seen and you're not heard and we're seen as non-threatening, I can go anywhere. I can go anywhere and people open up to me. I've been to the Congo, I've been to third world countries, I've been to every fucking state in America. I might be the most American person. Like, I've been to every fucking state. I've hitchhiked from the time I was 15 to every fucking state, every country, and I've talked, and because when people see, oh, that guy's Chinese, he's like Jackie Chan, or he's whatever they think, they don't think that I'm gonna do anything or say anything or I'm gonna pose any threat. So they just open up and they say the most, I don't know, like when I started hitchhiking, people said no one's gonna pick you up, right? Like 60s, 70s, everyone hitchhiked, and then something weird happened in the 80s where like you're gonna get raped, kidnapped, murdered, you know? But I go, I don't think so. I think if I put my thumb out and ask for help, someone's gonna give it to me. And with that, I got to see the world for free. I got to go everywhere. And much like what happened was I would sit shotgun and I'm getting these free rides. And two things would happen. Either the driver has a long drive and they want someone to talk to, or they want me to talk to them. And something would happen, and like I'm in the car right now with a complete stranger. Anything could happen. And the first hour is always small talk. How long you been on the road? What you doing? You know, it's all that kind of stuff. Something switches when they know the ride's about, like I'm about to get out or whatever. I'm never gonna see this guy again. I'm never gonna see this guy again. So now we've been talking about news, sports, and weather for an hour. The last 10 minutes, fuck my sister. Whoa. Everything comes out. So I've heard, think about how many rides I've hitchhiked.
How old was he? He was 12? How old was his sister?
I don't know. 8. I mean, everything. drugs, incest. You know, I killed somebody. Like murder confessions. I've heard the most insane.
One at a time. Murder confession.
I don't know if I should be doing it.
You definitely should be.
A guy confessed to me that he was thinking of raping me when I stayed at his house.
Oh, jeez. You stayed at his house? You didn't just hitchhike, you hitch-housed?
I was in deep south. I was in the deep south. It was like I was trying to hitchhike from LA to New York City. I was with my friend Brian. Same thing. No one's gonna pick up two fucking dudes. And John Wayne picks us up. Cowboy guy. 10-gallon hat. You know. Damn, you boys look, hot out there. Get in the car. And he's telling us about shrimp po' boys, and he works on a offshore oil rig, and it's 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and it says 2 weeks off. So where are you guys headed? We're like, we're trying to get to New York. New York? What you want to go for? A bunch of queers out there. I don't know. We want to check it out. You guys want to stay at my house? It's like cowboy boots, cowboy hat, just big gut. Like, he's a dude.
Right.
Yeah, I'm young. I'm 17 or 18 at this time. We get to his house in this is what I'm talking about. Tiny town in Louisiana. Deep South. Like, we get in his house, Die Hard movie collection, Rambo movie collection, shotguns, and just the dude, just a man's man. And he has and his part-time job is an anesthesiologist.
Part-time anesthesiologist.
Part-time and then part-time offshore oil rig. And I'm, this is summertime, deep south, covered with like grease and mosquitoes, living outside on the road, hitchhiking. He's like, "You guys want to take a shower?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah." I'm the first one in the shower. And then I come out, I got the towel wrapped on. He's like, he made us like a frozen pizza or something. And there's a protest on the television. It's San Fran. This is 1993 or 94. There's a protest of something with gay people in San Francisco. Protesting. And he's watching it. I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I'm queer. You never see me out there protesting." And I'm like, "Oh shit." And then my friend Brian, who's covered in grease and dirt, he hasn't showered yet. And I'm like, "Oh shit." And I started getting my clothes on. And it's one thing to be gay, and then it's one thing to be picked up by like a
big gay guy with a cowboy hat who takes you to his house.
So and here's the thing. I don't want to discourage people from hitchhiking. This is one weird incident that's happened in like 15 years of hitchhiking. So he's like, hey Brian, it's your turn. Why don't you take a shower? No, I'm okay. I'm all right. You're filthy. Why don't you get in there and take a shower? He's like, no, I'm all right. I'm okay. And I go, oh, fuck. What do we do? Do a little powwow in the corner. He's like, he's old. We can take him if he tries anything. We're tired. We were fucking so tired. We're like, he looks like he was like falling asleep on his couch, and he goes, he's gonna go to sleep soon. Let's just fucking stay the night. It's fucking air conditioned in here, and then let's leave first thing in the morning before he wakes up. Okay, fuck it. Let's just do it. All right, boys, I'm gonna turn in. I'm like, yes. So we take the couch, and I go, let's sleep in a formation, and let's take turns. You stay. We should have just left. You go. You stay up for an hour, and then wake me up. I'll stay up for an hour. And then we'll leave crack of dawn. I had a pocket knife, so I slept like this. I took the knife and I put the thing like this, and I slept like that, and I stayed up for the first hour, and I see him walking around his room. The lights are on, and I'm like, this guy's not going to sleep. Midnight, 1 a.m. I'm like, what the fuck? Why won't this guy go to sleep?
Putting his masks on.
So I nudge Brian. I go, hey, it's your turn. I'm gonna fucking pass out. He's out cold. I'm like, fuck, dude. Fuck, man. I'm too tired, and I go, okay, I'm just gonna stay up the whole night. So I'm up. I'm like, guys are closing. Bring him back up again. gripping the knife, and then sometime around 5:30 in the morning or something, my eyes are closed, but you know when you feel someone? So he comes out of his room, and he's standing there, and I could see, and then I go, oh shit, and then I grip the knife, and I go, this is it. This is it. It's going to happen right now. And he just leaves. He goes out the door. And I go, oh, fuck. Like, and then I wake up Brian. I go, Brian, let's get the fuck out of here. He's like, what's going on? He's like, dude, he just left. He's like, okay, I'm going to take a shower then. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, if he went to the store or something, like, he's not going to
get some duct
Yeah,
tape.
he's not going to be back for a little. I'll jump in and jump. I go, dude, let's just go right now. Like, he was, I don't know if he was jerking off or what. Like, he was just, I had my eyes closed, but he was standing right there. And he's like, I'll be quick. So he runs in, takes a fast shower. We get our clothes on. And, like, just as we're walking out, he's like, hey, he like pulls in. You guys leaving without saying bye? I just went to the market to get some eggs for breakfast. And I'm like, oh, fuck, dude. So I'm like, I have the knife in my hand the whole time. I go, like, it's that thing where I'm a people pleaser. You know, like, I'll even put my own life at risk to, like, this guy went to the store and got eggs for me, you know? Like, yeah, sure, we'll have some eggs. So we go in, and the guy starts talking about his wife and how he works on this offshore oil rig with, like, a younger dude. It's just two guys running this whole oil rig. And the other guy just talks about how much he hates gay people the whole time, not knowing that this guy is. Wow. And then he just, like all the other times I've been picked up, he starts opening up about how he was married, he has a bunch of children, and then he figured out he was gay, and then he's like, I could see it. He knows we're on our way out. He's never gonna see us. Let's just fucking let it off. You boys look so cute on the side of the road there last night, and it was like, I was so like, I'm so lonely. I don't get to, you know, you don't know what it's like to be a queer guy in the deep South. And man, when I came out this morning and I saw you guys sleeping together, you guys on the couch, you look so beautiful and perfect. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, dude. And then he says, I thought about just, you know, if you guys wouldn't mind if I just touched you a little bit. And I'm like, what the fuck? And, you know, we once again, I froze. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, so and so I said, yeah, we're gonna leave now. So we just fucking booked it. And then all of his neighbors were black. Like, he lived like in a black neighborhood, and like the houses are on stilts because of the swampland and whatever. And I don't know if he's done this before, but as we ran out, like, I heard like the kids laughing, like, oh, Tom, they're trying to do it again, and I'm like, oh fuck, like, this isn't the first time, like. And look, man, this is
looking for hitchhikers.
They came at night.
Any person that you run into in the woods is scary. It's weird. Like, if you, I always said that everything in the woods is scary. Like, if you saw a naked baby in the woods, you'd be like, what's that baby doing here?
Exactly.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Baby just standing there looking at you. Like, there's something weird about the woods in general. And if you were walking through a mall and a man was walking your way, it's just another person. Like, hello, hi. You know, you're at the park, see a guy, normal. But if you're in the middle of nowhere in the woods and you see another person, there's this moment where you're like, what's this guy up to? Who is he? What's he doing? Is he dangerous?
Yeah, and I think that's because we're all raised in an urban environment, more or less, nowadays. And so having lots of people around is normal, but to have one person in a pretty remote area, we don't experience that very often anymore.
But there's also no one that's going to help you there.
Right.
If you're alone in the woods, there is this weird, like, if you're some crazy serial killer guys out there, like, and you know, your backpack, and you're like, uh-oh. Like, now I'm at the mercy of this person if they're crazy.
I have a chapter in my book where I describe an event that I'm basically been a real private person all my life until this book came out. And once I wrote this book, I had to bring up stories that are very personal to me. And I had an event one night that was terrifying. Probably the most terrifying thing that's ever happened in my life. It involved humans. So, yeah, I totally get that. People in
What
places
happened?
where they
Can you
shouldn't
tell us?
be. I'll just give you the elevator speech part of it.
Okay.
So I was in my cabin at night, and the dog started growling. I had very big dogs. I always have dogs. And I looked out my window, and it was winter and it was cold, and I could see a couple of guys out there lurking around, and I was in the middle of nowhere. And then it kind of digressed from there. So I for the first and only time in my life, I pulled a gun on these guys.
Really?
Yeah, I was in danger.
What were they doing out there?
Well, they came to pay me a visit.
They knew who you were?
They called me by name, which was really freaky. So you think somebody in the woods walking around scary? Wait till you see somebody who you don't know who it is and they call you by your first name. That's freaky.
And what did they want?
I didn't find out because I pulled a gun on them.
Wow.
I drove them off. And it was terrifying to me it was not terrifying at the moment because I was absolutely focused, like predator focused, calm. But after they left, I started to shake and yeah, kind of after the adrenaline surge happened. They were drunk.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
And so how did they know who you were? Do you know?
I was working up there. I was kind of a novelty, a young blonde woman. I was only about 25. Living alone, studying wolves, and at the time there were other people coming and going studying wolves, but at that winter I was alone. I was working behind the customs station right on the Canadian border, and they were hauling logs down out of Canada, bringing in the customs station. They would have to transfer the logs to an American truck, and then the Canadian trucks would go back. And I temporarily took a job as the knot bumper at the log deck landing, which means my job was to run a chainsaw, trim off the branches, trim the length of the logs to exactly fit the log bed. Anyway, I was around, so these loggers knew who I was, and I was, I was cordial enough. But it was two of those guys. Yeah, and I never told the story till I wrote this book, and I just thought it's a part of me that's very personal. It's a part of me that I learned from. It's never happened again. And I had one old logger, old Bob. He saw me on the road the next day. I was pretty shook up. And he stopped. We chatted often. And he says, so I hear you had some visitors last night. And I looked it up because he was up in his log truck. I said, yeah. He says, you don't have to worry. That won't happen again. He's kind of like watching out for me.
So how did he find out that you had visitors?
The Logger Network, the CB radios. I don't know. I didn't tell anybody. But he knew right away.
Yeah, it's humans that you have to be scared of.
Totally. Yeah.
There's no serial killer mountain lions, right? They just have a purpose in nature.
Yeah. They just kill because they kill because they eat.
That's what their job is.
People are weird. Your little
Creepy.
sign about there being weird. I love that.
Yeah, especially men. Men in the woods are scary.
Creepy men that wanted more.
I dodged 2 molestation attempts.
Really?
Yeah, 2.
What'd you dodge?
Well, I dodged one of them when I was probably like 7 or 8 years old. That was the scare. Well, they were both pretty scary, but that was the scarier one because I was at the library and I was by myself. I was a latchkey kid. My parents just let me out of the house. At the time it was kind of normal. In retrospect, like thinking about it now, like I couldn't imagine letting my 7-year-old just
public
fucking
library.
wander around. Not just that, but walk to the public library, in San Francisco. And this guy, and so I was reading these books in this, they had a section of like, monster books.
Yeah.
And this guy came up to me and he goes, do you like monster books? I go, yeah. And he goes, oh, I have some monster books in my car. You want to see them? No. Okay. Like, I didn't know any better. I was fucking 8 years old or whatever it was. And as I'm leaving with this guy, the librarian starts screaming, Joseph, you get away from that man. That man just got out of jail. And she yells at him to get out of there, and the guy runs away, and I just start crying. And I was like, whoa. So I dodged that bullet. And then another time, when I was 13. When I was 13, we were hanging around this lake in Jamaica Plain. It was Jamaica Pond was this place we would go and fish. And there was another pond that was like this neighboring pond that was like slightly smaller. And this guy was always like running around the lake. He was jogging. And me and my friend Josh would be hanging out. This guy would come over and talk to us. He seemed like a super normal guy. He used to be a teacher, and he had retired. And, he probably was like in his 60s. And one day, it's just me. He went for it. One day, it's just me. And I'm fishing, and he comes by, and he's drunk. Damn. And he tells me he loves me. And I'm like super confused.
How old were you?
13.
Okay.
And I had been talking to this guy on and off. I'd seen him, for months.
Yeah.
Like, he'd come by, say hi. It was always, like, casual, very good-humored, very friendly, but he was, like, setting us up. And he comes by, and then I realize after, he tells me he loves me, but there can be no love without sex. That's what he says. And I'm like, what? And I had a knife. So I remember, like, I grabbed my knife in my pocket, and I had my hand on my knife, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to stab this guy.
Damn.
Yeah, I was like, this is gonna, because there was no one around. There was no one around.
Wow.
It was just trees and
You were 13,
forest.
you were like, I'm gonna have to stab.
Oh, I was gonna cut.
I'm out here telling people how they can save money with experience. You look like someone who has a lot of subscriptions.
I have a lot.
Too.
I had a person come to my house and try to kill me. I met these girls at USC the second semester I was there, and they were really cool. And they asked me if I wanted to study with them. I never went to high school, so I was like, oh, this is what, like, being in high school is like. Like, this is the clique of cool girls.
Like, you made it.
Right. So when they asked me, I was excited. I said, oh, we can study at my house. I had everything all set up, and I wanted it to go well. And the whole time I was inside trying to get these girls to think I was cool and like me and want me to be in the group, this guy was actually in my backyard with a gun, pacing back and forth in my backyard the entire time.
Oh my God.
While all the girls were there?
Yes, with me and all the girls studying. And me bringing food in and trying
How did
to
you
win
find
them
out?
over. Because later, when everything happened and the police came, they checked the security footage. And so 2 days before, he had already been there, and he was burying things in the backyard.
Didn't he bury like chocolate milk in your backyard?
Yeah, I had a person come to my house and try to kill me. I met these.
Who are you? I'm the wrong dude too, bro. Excuse me, sir. Let me ask you how you're doing that shit.
This is Christopher Swalwell, and he loves playing Mario. Sometimes he will play with his roommate, David. However, this time Chris played with David, he wouldn't walk out of there alive. Because this very game would be the reason David would stab Christopher over 40 times, just hours after this recording.
$1 million or $1 million hair. Just get this is shit. And I'm dying too, so I don't give a f. Because he was running away from me. Please, please, please. And I said, I'm not your prisoner.
After David committed his horrifying murder, he would call 911.
From heated debates to awkward silences, Joe Rogan's interviews don't always go as planned, like when Joe clashed with political commentator Candace Owens.
You don't think we have to care about the environment? Like, we
No, not even a little bit. Like,
not even a little bit?
no. Okay, let me clarify this. I don't throw trash on the ground. Like, I'm not saying like we need to like trash the environment. Like, but do I believe in climate change? No.
Joe challenged her argument, suggesting the issue's complexity and questioning Candace's qualifications. Yet tensions only rose as the podcast's producer Jamie Vernon cited a website to bolster Joe's stance.
Joe
you do the show, and then you go home. But if you like set aside some day. Hello, freak bitches. Very much need organized. You don't want just fluoride, and it's kind of stuff because they've been throwing fluoride in the water for how long, and how much money has been spent throwing fluoride in the water, and how many people have like built mansions and have fucking Mercedes Benz they're tooling around it because they've been throwing fluoride in the water, and that's a deep system to try to untangle after 50, 60 years of doing
It's
this.
the petrochemical industry. That's where all our medicines come from. And I was watching the Grammys, and I don't really.
Why? What's wrong with you?
I know. Well, I usually watch for the Satan segment. I would say, "Oh, okay, there it is. There's the Illuminati. There's
always one.
There's the. They didn't have one. They
That's
had
crazy.
beautiful women in nice dresses.
Trump
and
is
everything.
president. They're a little nervous.
Oh no, presidents are important for the culture.
It's very important for Satan.
But they're in trouble.
Yeah, you
they're
don't
in
have,
trouble.
like, a God
Jesus is
spirit,
making a
yeah.
comeback, man. No,
Yeah.
they're in trouble
You gotta
there.
hide now. Go back to the basement of Common Pizza.
And
place that doesn't have a basement, by the way.
We're reliably informed. And I hadn't really watched network television a lot, and there's a lot of commercial breaks, but the first 10 all had a pharmaceutical product which I'd never heard of, a name I can't remember, and side effects literally included death. I'm like, what is going on with this? And like, ask your doctor, I'm like, do I have this? Should I have this? Do I want this? I mean, is this going on with me? And people are all happy in the commercial. They're like, look, my skin looks good, and I'm happy, and I have a beautiful family. It's almost like we used to, sell cars. Now they're just selling the pharmaceuticals.
Well, that will be an interesting thing if RFK Jr. gets in place. If RFK Jr. gets in place and they stop this advertising on, we are one of 2 countries on Earth that allows, New Zealand, and New Zealand's far more restrictive than us. We should be really restrictive about this because advertising works. And there's advertising that doesn't bother me at all, like Chevrolet Corvette. Vroom, vroom, one of those. It's okay. It's fine. But when it can give you bloody diarrhea and suicidal ideology,
Anal leakage.
Yeah, and you're just fucked up in the head and you're depressed and like you don't know why, but now your zits are gone. Like, hey, slow down. That was not in that commercial with the lady dancing in the field with her child and the people at the picnic, and they're all smiling and laughing and having a good time together.
Yeah.
That looked like fun. Like, where's that part?
Well, of course.
George Soros, J.B. Pritzker, Reid Hoffman, left-wing billionaires are putting millions behind Susan Crawford because Crawford is a leftist ideologue who turned Wisconsin into Illinois. Stop her now, before it's too late.
They've tried all kinds of things to stop this, and the First Amendment comes up, although we have stopped tobacco advertisements, and there's all kinds of things that have been done throughout the years. But what happened with television is all the money, I mean, really 60, 70, maybe 80% of all the advertising income is from pharmaceutical companies. That's why there's also no reporting. Like, we're not going to bite the hand that feeds us.
That's the real problem.
That's
the
right
real
there.
problem. The real problem is that these news organizations are
Not just
independent.
news, everything.
Right, everything. They're not independent. Like even television shows. Like, could you imagine if, let's say, a network has a prominent news organization, and that news organization is very popular, and it's a big part of their ratings, and it's a reliable source of information for people that believe them. And they're sponsored by pharmaceutical drug companies, but then they also have a crime show on. And this crime show wants to do a thing about an evil guy who promotes a vaccine that winds up killing a bunch of people, and they hide the data, and then they arrest him at the end of the show. Like, no fucking way.
That's not getting made. No green light for you.
No.
That's not going to happen.
No. You got to turn that guy into a meth dealer. That's a meth dealer now. Let's just do a couple of rewrites, simple rewrites of the script.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is a bad guy from Guatemala. Let's fucking. It's definitely not from here. He's definitely not from Moderna. And they definitely aren't working in conjunction with the government to develop this thing, and the government's profiting off of it. That's not real.
Well, I say that we're in the season of reveal. I've been saying this for about a year now, and it's really happening real quick with what we're uncovering and starting to understand. I haven't seen your talk with Mike Benz.
Dropped some fucking seeds yesterday. If we're in the season of flowers, he's blooming today because he was so nervous yesterday. Jamie was talking about it before. Like, he was making all these tweets like they were going to kill him. Probably, yeah. It's probably been
Hmm.
discussed.
Well, I think it's way too far beyond. And I think, I look at Leave It to Beaver, I call her, who's the new press secretary. She's 27 years old.
Oh yeah, she's good though.
She's fantastic. She's younger than
I
my,
don't think you should,
daughters.
with a gal. I don't think you should say "Leave It to Beaver."
Oh,
Call
I'm
her
sorry.
Leave It to
I'm
Beaver.
sorry. That's just that's how I remember her last name. All right, Caroline Leave It. I think it's Leave It. Thanks, Joe. Thanks. Thank you. So she.
Because we're old enough to remember when beaver was a vagina. Most kids are like, I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about.
Leave it to beaver. What are you talking
dumb
about?
name for a vagina, beaver. Because dudes didn't really have any derogatory names for dicks. It's just dick is the worst one. Like, your dick. Put your dick away, you fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? It was like, but beaver.
Well, we only had pecker.
Yeah.
Like,
but
you know,
pecker's kind of cute.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a
it's just a pecker.
Yeah. There's no like real bad names for dick other than dick.
But she comes out and she does this whole list of USAID, which is very little money. And I think our president is very smart. He's showing us things that enables people like Mike Benz and you and I to have these conversations about, because it's not ideological that USAID, which is not USAID, this is like one of these psyops right up top. Like, Federal Express is not owned by the government. Federal Reserve is not owned by the government. USAID is the Agency for International Development, not aid. And we see on television, there goes another pallet onto the C-130. Aid, U.S. aid from the American people.
Oh, we're being nice.
Yeah, we're being nice to people.
We should be nice. We're the nice people of the world.
But what these, and I'm sure Mike talked about them, like LGBTQ, these dance parties and things. If you look at these countries, like these are countries where we want to keep them away from Russia, overthrow the incumbents, and the way to garner support is to. And I really love how they added the Q. That just became so clear to me all of a sudden. If you sponsor LGBTQ, these are outcasts. These are people who feel that they've been marginalized. Then you add a Q, like, well, wait a minute, I can be queer, I'm different, I'm odd. You bring more people in, then you can bring the anarchists in.
You can get A. They have the A's in
Oh, yeah,
now,
the
which
A's,
is
the
so
I's,
crazy.
Everything.
But the A's don't even have a dog in the fight.
But that's the point. You want them to come to the party.
Yes.
Come to the party. You're allowed to the party.
That's
and
why
then
it's
you,
so long now.
And I saw this, AFD in Germany, this is the extreme right party, and they wanted, to slow or remove immigration. And so now there was a protest against the AFD. They're getting ready to vote now. And there's 100,000 people there. I'm like, wow. I know people in Germany. I have friends in Germany. They really are sick and tired of this immigration stuff. So where are these people coming from? And in the news report, right up front, there's a dude in a blonde wig with eyeshadow saying, we just want to get along. Can't we just be diverse? I'm like, that's the psyop.
Yes.
He's talking about himself. So he wants to feel included, which, by the way, in America, you can do whatever you want, call yourself whatever you want. People really don't have an issue with that. But they've just taken this and abused these people into their political agendas all over the world. And, of course, it sparked something here in the States. If you look, the Democrat Party, they're going to die on this hill. They're still like, oh, no, LGBTQ, they're taking away our rights, because they know they can mobilize people to do that. And then you can throw in Palestine, and all kinds of people
Did you
join
see the
this
city
group.
council thing in Worcester, Massachusetts yesterday that's gone viral today?
No, which one is
Jamie,
that?
did you see it? Oh, yeah,
No.
yeah, pull this bitch up.
I haven't seen
There's a compilation of these people, like, absolutely freaking out. The best one's the compilation, if you can find the compilation. But it's all these LBGT people show up at this city council meeting to say there's like a trans genocide. It's one of those, dude. We're going to round up in concentration camps. Yeah,
5 minutes long.
Yeah, just give me, start from the beginning. Give me.
There it is.
Yeah.
I speak as both the B and the T in the LGBT.
He's both.
Whoa. My day off. I do not want to be in your DMs. I do not want to be in your email inboxes. I do not want my creativity writing diss tracks like Kendrick. I don't want to spend an hour applying glitter on my face so that you will hear and see me.
What? No, that's enough. So it's like, you made me put glitter on my face, you piece of shit. Because everyone knows when you go to court, you have to glitter.
These people need hugs. They need love. I pray for them.
Yeah.
The biggest way to psychologically manipulate people is, or there's three ways: old people, puppies, and children. And and I followed this. It started around 2012, not coincidental. When you know about Smith Month Act. So that there was a law that was put in since the Church Commission. You can't propagandize the American people. Defense Department and others went to the government and said, well, like, we're on the internet now, we might accidentally, put some propaganda on people. It started with bullying in schools. I know, because John Dvorak and we followed it on No Agenda. It started with bullying, then it was, we needed anti-bullying laws, and we're literally going like, what happened to sticks and stones will break my bones, or punch the bully in his nose? No. Then the teachers, and then we got hate speech laws, not actually laws, but, hate speech punishments. And this kept building up until you guaranteed parents through the American Medical Association, the Pediatric Society, all of these different trade groups, that if you don't transition your child, that child will commit suicide.
Right.
And that is a horrible thing that they've done. Think about these parents who may or may not one day wake up and go, what have I done? What have I done?
Well, someone was talking about this the other day, that this is the real problem, is that so many parents have committed to doing this to their children, and they cannot face the reality of what they've done, and so they're going to dig their heels in forever.
And
they're
vote
gonna talk
Democrat.
about gender-affirming care.
Yes.
Yeah. But the thing is, that's a small percentage of people in the general population.
Thank God.
And thank God, but they're overrepresented in the fact that they make it their whole life, and so they're very loud and very vocal, and then they become a political beach ball.
I heard you talk about that with Bridget.
That's what
yeah,
it is. It's
totally.
The political beach balls at a concert. They chuck them up in the air, so we always have something to fight about. So we're not paying attention to like the USAID stuff or a lot of the stuff that's like really important. And this is just a part of this intertangled web of psyops that's been running our culture. I would say our government, but it's everything, right?
Culture.
So it's the government has established its hooks in us and put fear and law and rules, and the more law and the more rules, the better, because the more likely you're going to break a few of them, and then you're going to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And they've got these fucking things everywhere, and it's just allowing them to run this mafia business. And there's a bunch of people that are reasonable, educated people that have Stockholm syndrome. Like they don't want to admit that even their people, their cherished heroes like Obama, was a part of this. And that all these people that you think of as progressive Democrats, they were all a part of it. And fortunately today, we have the convenient access to YouTube instantaneously, where you can watch Obama in 2003 say some very MAGA things. Or you could watch Hillary Clinton go more MAGA than MAGA.
About deportation.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And that if you stay, you have to pay a stiff fine. I mean, the whole thing it's cyclical, right? Like, this is why the left is now supporting war and censorship. It's not real. It's not that there's a good group of kind, compassionate, educated people and a bunch of fucking buffoons who are racist who want to bring back the Confederate flag.
Yeah.
That's not what's going on.
No.
There's people that are nice, kind people that also understand the value of hard work and reality and kindness
and also sternness and rule of law, and you can't just let violent criminals out in the street. And hey, maybe you should do some actual rehabilitation with the fucking billions of dollars you make in the prison industrial complex. There's no rehabilitation, like no real concerted effort to completely change these people and studies.
It's a mess.
It can be done. It could be done, and it probably could be done with psychedelic drugs. They probably can do some things with people, especially non-violent criminals that are trying to figure out, like, why have I been stealing from people my whole life? Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? That unless they're a legitimate psychopath, they have no empathy. There's people that can be kind of woken up to why they're in this horrific pattern of continual abuse in their life, and there's ways to do it. And Rick Perry has been really like brave in this case because he's a former Republican governor of Texas, and
that's right.
And now he's advocating for ibogaine therapy, particularly for veterans, for guys who come over. They've seen the most horrific shit. Their brain is in a shambles, and they want to do something, and they have no help in these pills that just dull their mind and make them feel detached from reality, and all these fucking antidepressants and things they give them, and they want to fucking end their life. And they can go and get therapy that cures 80% of them with one dose, and it's like 95% with 2 doses. It's fucking nuts, man. And we've been hiding this because of the sweeping Schedule I Drug Act of 1970 that was put in place directly by Nixon to go after his political opponents. It was directly put in place to demonize the anti-war movement, and demonize the Civil Rights Party and the Black Panthers, and anybody who was a problem with the government. So they just said, let's just make all these things that these people are taking on a regular basis completely illegal. Not only just Schedule I, like with no medical use whatsoever, things that people have been using for thousands and thousands of years, and it's all the same shit. It's all psyops. It's all psyops. Have you ever heard of the audience effect? It is a psychological theory that our behavior changes when we know we're being watched. Here's the thing, we are being watched. When you use the internet, data brokers watch and record everything you do online, even if you're using a private browser. But you don't have to become a slave to the digital surveillance state. You can free yourself with ExpressVPN. With ExpressVPN, 100% of your online activity is rerouted through secure, encrypted servers that hide your IP address. That means you can get to use the internet with real freedom and privacy. It's incredibly fast, it doesn't slow down your streaming or downloading, and it lets you connect instantly to secure servers in 105 countries around the world. ExpressVPN is easy to use. It takes just one click, and it works on all of your devices, even smart TVs. Use it on up to 8 devices at the same time and protect the whole family with just one subscription. The best part? Podcast listeners can get 4 extra months of ExpressVPN for free at expressvpn.com/Rogan or by tapping the banner. That's expressvpn.com/Rogan or tap the banner. If you're watching on YouTube, you can get 4 free months by scanning the QR code on screen or by clicking the link in the description.
Stuck with nasal congestion? We've all been there. Afrin No Drip is here to help. Wow! Get ridiculously powerful nasal congestion relief in seconds. Stays right where it's sprayed. Whether it's allergies or a cold, Afrin is your go-to solution. Afrin, the wow is real.
Use as directed.
Well, the number one thing that happened around that time, of course, during Kennedy, is we realized that television was a big force. Television and radio.
Yeah, they got that handsome guy.
And if you listen to some of the debates, like, it would sound on the radio like Nixon did better. I mean, it's amazing how this worked between radio and television, but then newspapers. We know the intelligence agencies were all writing stories. I mean, you look at CNN, you still see ex-CIA guys show up. A little story. When I saw you sitting at the inauguration, and I think I texted you, I'm like, dude, I can't believe it. I see you sitting there. You texting me American flag emojis and stuff like, and you and Trump. I'm like, oh, look at him. He's in a tuxedo. And I thought, so my life in 1983. I was still a teenager, and I grew up in Amsterdam, socialist country. The airwaves were controlled by the government. It was horrible. It was almost like Russia. Your phone was a gray phone, and that was your phone. You couldn't get a different phone. It was illegal to unplug it from the wall. And I was doing pirate radio at a place called Radio Decibel in Amsterdam. And we were playing.
You were Christian Slayer.
In a way. In a way.
That movie?
In a way. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What was that called? What was that movie called?
I don't know.
Maybe it was called Pirate Radio?
It was crazy. They were trying to arrest him. Remember?
Well, so we all got arrested several times. And we were playing 12-inch imports from the Chicago
You
warehouse.
got arrested several times.
Oh,
for
yeah.
doing pirate radio?
They would always come and arrest us.
How'd they find you?
We literally had the station name on the door. People would come around. We'd be smoking weed or hanging out. You know, we weren't making any money. We were basically paying to do it. You know, we had this huge antenna on the
Did
roof.
this ever come up when you got hired by MTV? Did they get nervous about that? Like, did they have to do a background check? And say, this guy's got a record.
No, I'll remind me to tell you my USAID story in a minute. So no, but this is 1983, and I felt it was so. Of course, I was a gawky, awkward kid. I got tics. You know, I got the wrong hair. I got the wrong moped. Everything's wrong. But on the radio, people are like, "Wow!" And I was doing it in English. You can do that in Amsterdam. You're like, "Wow, it's so cool! You got that black guy on your station." I'm like, "What?" So I was John Holden, the 23-year-old black guy who drives a Harley. But the point was, it was liberating. I could speak my mind, and everything felt so stifling. Now we go forward to 1993, and I'm on MTV. I'm the hair of Generation X. I'm on Z100 in New York, #1 station. And I'm also on the internet. You know, I'd set up NTV.com. It was very, very sleek. We had dial-up modems at the time. And it was so restrictive. You can't, they let me do my own material, but they had censorship called a line producer. Like, oh, now we got to burn that segment. You said something bad about Richard Marx. Oh, you said something that was off color about Madonna. Oh, we can't do that. The radio was the same. It was, you know, like read the liner card, you know, and then always end with Z100. And there was a guy in Sun Microsystems in San Francisco, and he said, Adam, I see what you're doing with MTV.com on the web. That's cool. I'm going to send you a computer. So he sends me this big Sun Spark workstation. He said,
what year?
93.
So this is pre-Windows 95. So this is
yeah, it's yeah, go ahead.
That's right. Windows, what is it, 3.8
well, this
or something
was
like that?
Solaris OS. It's Unix, basically.
So it wasn't Windows back then, right? Like, what came
Well, no,
before Windows
well,
9?
I had a Mac. No, I had an early
3.1.
Apple II.
3.1, that's
yeah,
what it was.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 3.1 and an Apple II. I was more Apple guy at the time. And so I hooked it up to my 56K modem, dial in. He says, watch this. And he says, and I'm on the phone with him. He says, watch this. And up on my screen pops a little player, and he's streaming in PC. We didn't have MP3s back then. PCM, pulse code modulation, 9-inch nails. I'm like,